can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walk through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100,000.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs like the founders of P90X, Atari, many more, how they overcome big challenges in life and business. This is part of the Prosper Show e-commerce mastery series, where top sellers and experts teach you what really works to boost your e-commerce business. Our sponsor today is Rise25.com, which helps service professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, coaches, diversify and create additional revenue streams and stop just trading time for dollars. Go to Rise25.com, learn more. It's run by myself, co-founder John Corcoran. It's application only. I'm very excited. Today, it's been a long time coming. We have Jay Lagarde, who founded Ecomm Engine back in 2006. They have a suite of software products used by Amazon sellers to increase revenue and get more reviews, which obviously all Amazon sellers want. They have feedback automation tool called Feedback 5, which we're going to talk about, an inventory management tool called Restock Pro, and a product research tool called Ecom Spy. And they were the first feedback management tool on Amazon, and because of that, they have a lot of large sellers that use the tools. And a fun fact about Jay is, way back when, he created the first comprehensive website in the world that automated the regulatory process. So his technical roots go way back. Jay, thanks for joining me.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. Glad to be here and look forward to chatting with you.
What's best practices for that? If someone's starting, they go, okay, I want to start sending emails. How many and what frequency? Like you mentioned, the delivery is great. You send it one day after delivery. You send it a week after delivery. You send 3 more follow-up. What do you recommend as best practice for the optimal result for the business and for the customer?
Yeah. So there are certain general principles, right? Obviously, you ask once, you ask very politely. You start your message by saying, checking to make sure you're satisfied, and really making it a very customer service centric email and offering to address a problem if there is any, capture that negative feedback before it happens and then ask for the feedback. So those are best practices. Obviously you want to send it, FBA versus non-FBA. Your timing may be different. Your style may be different, depending on the circumstance. So how often?
Yeah.
It's generally safe to ask twice for feedback, generally. Some people don't want to do it. It's okay. Everybody's situation is different. You ask once. Obviously, we monitor for feedback, positive and negative. So if anything does pop up, we don't solicit again. We also have lots of auto exclusions because, you may ask once, but the person may have contacted you by email. There may be some other factor, which is a trigger to not solicit. So we've got a lot of very, very deep exclude capabilities to not solicit when you don't want to. But there are a lot of custom situations where people have custom products and custom brands where it can be reasonable to send more touch points, even more than 2. And I say that cautiously. It's a unique situation. Sometimes you have one for feedback, one for product review. There are reasons, and it really is part of it is the kind of person, everything you're selling has a certain niche, can have a niche. If it's a certain person is really into, I'll just make something up. I mean, let's say you're selling an electronic product that is kind of really nichey and people are really into talking about it. Or let's say it's a knitting product and everybody who buys a knitting product like this is really into this type of knitting or whatever. People sometimes, if your people like to converse about the product and about how they're using it, you're okay. If it's more like, I just want to buy it and forget it type Amazon purchase, use your judgment. Maybe fewer touch points are wiser there.
Mm-hmm. So as a general rule, people should probably send 2 in general, 1 after delivery, maybe 1 later on.
Our default when we first started is 1. We allowed 2. I would say do 1, if you're just a large seller selling all kinds of different things,
Yeah.
do one and see how that goes, and then try to and measure and observe. And that's what we recommend. I would say that most people who do two, I'm going to be careful here. Most people who do two do get a better response rate, but there's some people that are more conservative and don't wish to do it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. And is there a timing that's best?
So there are two timing questions. There's time of day, and there is a time after delivery,
Yeah.
or time after order, and there's also obviously issues about location, state, country, whatever. So all of these things could be parameters. So this is an area where we may be coming out with some stats at some point on open rates at different times, open rates on different days of the week. Those are the two easy things to measure, open rates, and you can segment by open rates. And so, but then you also have got other variables. You've got obviously the other big variable is what is your subject line. So it is true, we do have a lot of data on that. Not sure exactly that I can give you any hard and fast rules.
Yeah. Any good subject lines people should be using? Now you've become a copywriter expert because you've seen all these emails go.
Yeah, we do have some recommendations on that. I don't want to, since I do know our guys have studied this, and I do know we do have some very specific opinions about this. But I'd be reluctant to say it here because I'm not sure how scientific it is.
Well, I'm only talking to you, so it's your opinion.
Yeah.
It's anecdotal a little bit.
Well, it is true that some subject lines are better, and putting a name. Now we're experimenting with emojis and subject lines. I don't know exactly what the final word is on emojis, but they're always looking at these things and studying them. And names, emojis, asking a question. There are different things that you can do, but I can also tell you that what works in 2012 may not have the same effect in 2016. The subject lines that will induce someone to open.
What have you seen with trends, Jay, with time of day or day of the week that works best?
I don't have it in front of me, the data, and so I'm gonna pass on that. However, I will go back to the team and have them. I will chat with you afterwards. I'll be happy to do that. So,
I mean, does anything stick out to you, like more morning or afternoon? It doesn't have to be like 6:53 or something, but does anything stick out to you that was more morning or afternoon or early morning? Any like general time of the day that tend to be better than others?
Yeah. So what I'm going to tell you, you're going to think is a cop out, and it is a little bit. I'm going to say it depends.
Okay.
And it really does depend.
That's okay. Yeah. Tell me what.
Because it is true that an individual seller can experiment with a different time and get a different result, or they can choose to opt out. Some people want to opt. Well, there are different reasons people want to opt out over the weekends. Don't send over weekends. Hold those up and send them on Monday. Different people selling in different niches can experience different results. And so because of that, I don't know exactly. I don't have a bright line rule to give you. I do know, I've heard anecdotally different, very different opinions about soliciting on weekends versus soliciting on a regular day. But it's a very good question. And I, on another interview,
people argue about that. Some people say weekends are good, some people don't.
Well, not only do they argue about it, but even more than that, they actually have data that shows that the results are different.
Yeah.
So what's the causality that drives those differences? That's where it gets more interesting.
And it's the same like health, like it's both health products or both the same genre.
I think if it's in the same genre, you're typically. My view is when you get significant differences in behavior, you're dealing with a different customer element.
Right.
That would be my hypothesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah. So I want to go back to what's interesting is you started this with just two of you, right? So I want to talk about the team part because you've built a team at this point. And that's also interesting because when you do the larger contract work, does the team have to expand and contract depending on the contract work? Now it's probably more of a steady
Yeah,
team.
we've always been we've had organic growth. We haven't really had to contract for lack of business, fortunately. So we did, we started out very small, one developer, then we had two
How'd you find that
developers.
developer? Because you yourself.
Well, just somebody I met, and we started working together.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then from there you get a little more systematic about it. But we had we had two developers, and then we had a graphic designer early on, and we've had a little bit of in and out, but for the most part we've had some of the core people early on are still here. Some of the early people on that were with Feedback 5 are still here, so that's great.
And then talk about the timeline. So we talked about Feedback 5 was the first product. What came after that?
Well, really, Smart Price really existed before Feedback 5, but we had the term Smart Price, but we've still never really sassified Smart Price. We have people who use it, they love it. It's a very customized pricing model that we've done for people, but we really don't market it at all. So Feedback 5 was our first major tool. And then Restock Pro would be our other major tool. And of course, Ecom Spy is an important tool. It's not, we don't sell that on a subscription model. We sell that on you can come and use as much of it as you want. You can use it for free to start out. If you like it, you can just buy credits and use it. So
Ecom Spy, you're saying?
Ecom Spy. We have some people that buy, 1 billion credits, and I'm exaggerating slightly, and spend a whole year or two using them, and other people that buy them every few months when they need them. So
what do people use the Ecom Spy for that's been valuable?
So I don't really know all the ways people use it because people use it in ways that I've heard people use it in ways that we never anticipated they would use it.
Yeah, like what?
Market monitoring and checking out what's going on. But really, its real initial idea behind it is that people are looking at opportunities in the market. They're looking at bulk opportunities. They're looking for those needles, hopefully not just a needle, but needles in a haystack to get into the game. And so our view is that a lot of Amazon sellers are going to be data savvy, and really what they're after, whether they're doing an opportunity buy of a certain number of goods, or whether they're working with a new wholesaler or whatever, we're assuming that they can get a spreadsheet and from whatever it is that they're buying from, and that spreadsheet's going to have UPC codes or EANs, or maybe even ASINs sometimes, but and that they want to have, whether it's 100 items or whether it's 10,000 items that they're trying to evaluate, they want to understand, is it, number one, worth working with a supplier? And number two, if it is worth working with a supplier as an Amazon seller, what do I want to concentrate on? What area of his products do I want to concentrate on? And so the idea is you can load this data up. We can give you a temperature of the market at that time, exactly what your profitability would look like selling these products. And it's just a very fast evaluation tool to understand whether you want to take up an opportunity with supplier, or what products you want to focus on. It's not magic. You still need to exercise judgment, but it allows you to get a lot of data very, very rapidly to make an informed judgment on a large catalog.
Yeah.
So it's a very simple idea, but also very powerful for those that need this type of tool.
Jay, so another question about pricing. So it seems like the Ecom Spy pricing model is different from Feedback 5, which is your traditional SaaS. How do you decide on the pricing model and then the actual price?
So so really, for Ecom Spy, we just thought, well, this is something that we're going to start it out. We're just going to price it on a per unit basis. It's going to be simple. People won't feel like they're locked in. They can buy as much as they want. That's just what we started because we were trying it, and we've never changed it. So we could very well add a subscription model onto that gives you a more of a certain number of hits. Not sure that decision's still something we could do down the line. In terms of pricing, we try to develop a rough sense. Early on there was, we didn't know a lot about pricing. We just tried to see, what is fair, what do we think we can do in order to make ends meet and still keep growing the product. So we made educated judgments based on all the things we knew about the market, about the product, about the costs. Nowadays in SaaS world, there's just lots of fancy models and people out there that are software pricing experts and all of that. I can't say that we're experts in that.
No, I just asked that because, like we were talking before, one person goes, "Oh my God, you're only selling this for $20." Yeah, and I would pay $150, and then the other person's like, "This is way too expensive." So you have to go, you have to price it somewhere.
Sure.
So what's your method?
Yeah, and what every business does, whether you're it's a pharmaceutical company or whether it's a software company, whether you're buying Salesforce or whatever, there's always market differentiation. And how do you differentiate? Some people can only afford this much, some people can afford a lot more. So you allocate capabilities and you scale your price on the product, whether it's based on volume or sales amounts or capacity utilization. You come up with something that's fair, and also features. You can add more features at higher levels. So you come up with something that's fair, and that allows the people that are going to get more value out of it and that can get more value out of it. You give them more value and you charge more, and those that don't need as much value and can't afford it, you charge less. And it's never perfect, and that's the way it happens with a lot of software these days. You'll see a pricing menu and you'll see it scales one way or the other, and we're no different. And a lot of people have come in, I don't say a lot, but several people, as you well know, have come into the market after us offering feedback management tools. And we've always looked at their pricing models. Now it's a little different, but many people just replicated our pricing model very closely.
They just looked at it.
I don't know. Maybe they did their own study and decided that was the right one, or maybe they just looked at ours and said, we're just going to copy.
They've been doing it for a while. It's working. We might as well just do it.
So we haven't changed it a lot, but we are very excited. We actually, our team has been working on a new pricing model that's going to be pretty exciting.
For which one?
For Feedback 5.
Okay.
So it's going to be coming out, really in a few weeks. I don't think anybody's going to be forced into it, but I think a lot of people will want to do it. And so one of the things that it's really going to be focused on and optimizing on is we're seeing more and more sellers that have multiple marketplaces, whether it's in Europe or maybe whatever.
On Amazon. So
on Amazon.
Not just like, we're not talking Amazon to Walmart to eBay. It's more Amazon Canada, Amazon Mexico.
Multiple Amazon marketplaces.
Gotcha.
And multiple stores or whatever. And so one of the things we're doing is we're going to make it very, very easy and cost effective to be able to manage, to manage multiple stores. So you'll be able to manage multiple stores on Amazon with a single, essentially a single Feedback 5 account.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty excited about that, and that's going to be, coming out here pretty soon.
Yeah. I always ask Jay, since the Inspired Insider, what's been a low moment in the business and what's been one of the proudest moments?
That's a good question. So, I mentioned a few times early on where we were doing custom projects, in that we had people that couldn't pay, didn't pay. I mentioned that case of where somebody, filed bankruptcy, and these were really nice people, and we were really bummed because they really had negotiated with us very hard to deliver value for them and hold off on the payment. And that was a pain point for us. And it was also a pain point because there were times where, we're doing work and we're doing some custom work, but also investing in platforms where, things were,
the money's not coming in and it's going out type of thing.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You need to pay salaries and you need to watch cash flow. I wouldn't call it a terribly low moment, but there were times where there's uncertainty. Yeah. And you realize that, this is either going to work or it's not. And if it doesn't work, You're going to pivot, you're going to do something else, or you're going to have to contract. You
Right.
don't want to contract. No entrepreneur does, but they realize, all entrepreneurs realize that if you're going to take a risk, it may or may not work. Even the most cautious, careful plans, you've got to take risks, and you hope it's going to work, and you build all your risk, management into it. But not everything works perfectly. Do you pivot? Do you do something else, or what? So there's certainly, and of course we still have that today. We've got lots of fun and we think very valuable projects that we're working on that we can deliver value into the market. But are we certain that it's certain that that value is going to be delivered? Are we certain people are going to pay for it? Are we certain that somebody else is not planning on doing the same thing exactly when we are? No, we're not certain.
So, So on the flip side, one of the proudest moments.
Well, in some ways, getting that offer for the contract was a proud moment. Even though we didn't take it, it was a proud moment. It was a nice validation. Amazon had recommended us. We did work. We got huge kudos from this large company that said, you guys made a major difference in us getting this billion-dollar contract. I mean, I know it wasn't all us, but they said some very nice things about us, and we really appreciated hearing that. So that was a proud moment, even though we had to say no. And the fact that we said no was also a proud moment because it was a tough call, and we were proud that we made it and didn't get sucked into something that we weren't really destined to do.
Yeah.
So there have been other proud moments. Obviously, we've met certain milestones. We're kind of celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Congratulations! Yeah.
We've published a milestone where something like 45 million positive feedbacks that we've helped get.
Wow.
We're very, very proud of some of those milestones. But those are some of the big ones.
Yeah, I love it. Jay, I want to point people towards your site, and I have a last question for you. I really appreciate your time on this. People can go to a few places. I believe ecommengine.com. It's ECOM engine.com. They can go to feedback5.com. Where else can we point people towards they can discover and explore your tools?
Yeah, thanks. So ecommengine.com, feedback5.com, spelled out 5. Of course, it should work either way. Restock Pro, RESTOCK Pro, PRO.com, restockpro.com, and Ecomm Spy, ECOMSPY.com. Those are our main websites. Maybe more to come, but all of those can be found on ecommengine.com. So definitely appreciate us checking us out, and we're a very open book company. So we really enjoy feedback, whether it's glowing feedback, of course we love, but we love we love almost as much feedback that's constructive as well.
Yeah.
And so
last question, I actually have two questions. One is, obviously we talked about the Feedback 5 Ecom, the Ecom Spy, Restock Pro, and Smart Price. I'm curious what other softwares you recommend other people, obviously that you don't feel the need for. What else out there do you recommend to sellers to complement what you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we don't personally get into the business of recommending a lot of software. We do have certain software partners that are on our website, some coaches and things that are on our website. But, there's some really great shipping software out there that helps people do shipping. I mentioned ShipStation earlier. That's a good product. There are a lot of very solid ERP products out there. These are, some friends of ours. I don't necessarily need to mention any of them, but there are some really good ERP products that are multi-market channel. I hate to mention some and then exclude others because there are a number of them. There are a number
You're very
of them that
diplomatic.
I maybe to a fault. There are some really good ones out there, and there's some good people that are really passionate about the marketplace and that produce really good products. There's some strengths. Some of them have strengths. Some are better than others. So I'd say, ERP tools, shipping tools are very important. And of course, there's some good research tools. We're not the only research game in town. There's some research tools that will, extrapolate based on sales rank and things and show you what what sales is, and keyword tools and things like that are out there that are an important component of a good Amazon ecosystem.
Is there a place you
So-
go to learn or subscribe to kind of get whatever is out on the market, cutting edge tools or information in the e-commerce world? Where do you read?
So our job is really all day, every day. I mean, not just my job, but our product team's job. They're supposed to really understand the market. They're supposed to understand what people are getting value out of. So yeah, we obviously internet retailer, e-commerce bites, you name it. We keep up with a lot of blogs too. We have a lot of good partners that are coaches or that are, gurus and experts in the Amazon marketplace. We obviously read them, and with some reluctance, I will say that we do sometimes learn things from some of our competitors as well. We'll read their blogs and we'll learn something. We try to learn wherever we can and try to stay really up to speed on the market and understand what's going on, because really Amazon it's a great market. It's an exciting market. It's a global market, and it is fast moving.
Yeah.
So what is true today will
You got to
probably
keep
be
your
true-
finger on the pulse.
probably be
Yeah.
true next year to a large extent, but there are other things that are going on, and so you can't just learn it once and be done.
Yeah. Conferences that you like. Obviously, you're going to Prosper Show. What other
Prosper,
conferences?
we go to SCOE, we go to Ecom Chicago, we've gone to Jim Cockrum's conference. Those are, and we've probably been to a few other. We've been to Ed's conference in New York, small seller conference. So those are some of the ones we've gone to. We discuss among ourselves. I'd love to hear your advice. Should we be going to more conferences? Because like I said earlier, we never
Do you go
did
to
start
IRCE also?
We'll be going there this year. Whether we display or not, I don't know, but we'll definitely be there.
How do you determine whether you're going to display or just attend?
We just talk about it. I can't say that we have any scientific reason.
I don't know if there's like more Amazon sellers, because IRC probably is.
IRC traditionally has been much more broad-based. Very
Right.
few Amazon sellers.
Exactly.
Last few years, a little different. You've had pre-shows that are Amazon-centric. Things may be changing.
Yeah.
Amazon is so big now that
Can't ignore it.
you can't not know about them.
Right. So last question, Jay. Culture. What do you do to maintain culture? I'm talking to one of your staff, and she was very big on you getting the word out about Ecomm Engine and just you talking, because she said, we have a great guy at the helm of this company. So you're doing something to foster a really good culture and people who love the company itself. And so I'm curious what you do for the team to maintain that.
That's a good question. Well, I'm not sure who you're talking about, but that's nice that this staff member said that. And so really, you talk to any entrepreneur that's gotten a business to a certain point, and what's the famous quote? Culture eats strategy for lunch. And there's an element of truth to that. Certainly, you need to have a good market. Certainly, you need to have a good strategy, but you can have all those things. And if you don't have folks that are excited and really rowing the boat all in the right direction, and really caring about customers and caring and loving what they do, you're not going to get as much done. And so, and also, it's good to be passionate about your job, and it's good to enjoy your job. And why would you want to do it if you weren't? I mean, obviously you need to eat, but why would you need to have that passion too? So it's important to us that we really work well together. And so we try to build a team where everybody's views are honored, where we have good communication, where we really, we're trying to empower sellers. That's our mission, really, to empower sellers with great software. But and it sounds cliche-ish, but we really also want to empower our staff, each and every one of them, to be the best they can do at what they do, and to really think about their individual job, but not just about their job. Think about the customer, because that's our value stream, what we're delivering to our customer. So everybody is empowered to think about the big picture of what we're doing for our customer, and to step up to the plate. If
What do you do to foster that? Like, I'm just curious, some like tactical things. Like, do you do, okay, we do a meeting every Tuesday and Thursday, or something that gets the communication, or
Yeah.
I don't know, you do a company outing, or I don't know, what are some of the tactical things?
Yeah,
that
we
you
definitely do that. We definitely have company outings and dinners and things like that. But, we have a meeting cadence at our company. We have, weekly meeting cadences for different groups of the company. We have a monthly all company meeting cadence where we announce certain things and have updates and take Q&A and honor people for great accomplishments that they've done in the company. Those are some of the things we do. We share in the success of the company, I think fairly openly and generously, and I think people appreciate that. Those are some of the things we do. But really, a lot of it is really attitude and whether or not it goes back to that empowerment question. And when we tell people, we really want you to not just view your job in a tunnel, but really think about the big picture, and you're at the table on decisions that are being made. I think that empowers people, and I think it ultimately leads to more engaged employees that again are more passionate about doing right by the customer.
Yeah, you're bringing the process to them, so they're invested in the process. And that's what you did, sound like you did all along, even from that big contract, in the beginning.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Jay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Everyone should check out ecommengine.com. All their products, all their information's on there. And thank you again.
Yeah, great talking with you, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like $100 grand.